Hi, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the third episode of the story about the time when Sasuke gives his sharingan eyes to Naruto on verge death in waves. Let's watch as Naruto Uzumaki, Uchiha takes world by storm. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Somewhere in the woods of Taki where the tallest trees grew and the canopy was at its thickest there was a large redwood towering proudly above the rest of the forest. There was a large room hollowed out of its mammoth trunk that didn't look like more than a notch to the ancient behemoth. It was just a wide open area with 7 large piles of leaves, pine needles, and grass that appeared to be beds. Several windows were carved out allowing sunlight in during the day or the user to look out at night, and there appeared to be a fireplace carved out of the wall crackling with small flames that illuminated the whole room. Hanging off the far wall there was a square perch about 7 feet by 7 feet that jutted out of a corner where a giant yellow jacket about 5 feet long with a large stinger and giant wings rested while on the piles lay 6 large bugs and a striking tan girl. There was a solid black horn beetle with a 4-foot-long horn that destroyed size clone, a praying mantis the size of a pony, a circular ironclad beetle about 4 feet in diameter with black and white splotches over its abnormally thick armor. Then there was an ox beetle the size of an ox. Over its face a large round horn jutted out of its gray shell a person could sit comfortably on. An intimidating pincer beetle sat next to it with jaws that looked like they could slice through a person with ease, but the most menacing of the creatures was the 8-foot-long vinegaroon that lay at the base of the girl's pile while getting the back of its head scratched like a dog. The mint-haired woman appeared to be voicing her thoughts to the bugs as she scratched the monstrous creature. Fu has been up debating this all night and she still doesn't know what to do and now she is tired as well. The Jinchuriki felt the 12 chakra presences approaching Taki probably bent on causing problems and Fu found herself not caring after the talk with the clone last night. The things it said really made her feel bitter towards her birthplace and she figured they could handle the threat themselves. What should Fu do? It would be nice to live in a village, but could Fu even live with other people? She has been living in the woods by herself with just bugs for company longer than Fu can remember. Sometimes Shibuki visits us but I think that is because he had to. He stopped coming since he came to tell Fu his dad died. Pausing as the pincer beetle clicked his teeth she continued when it stopped, "Don't say that much. I'm sure that they would let you guys in, they have a clan of bug users after all. Remember Fu fought and killed one. His bugs decided to listen Fu instead of him and drained all his chakra." Once again pausing but this time it was for the ox beetle as it clicked its smaller pincers. "Haha yeah that was funny Lumpy. Fu is unhappy those sunglasses broke though, they were awesome and she really wanted to wear them. Fu wonders if we went to the village if we could live with the bug clan or maybe get a job in a butterfly garden. Fu thinks butterflies are pretty." The horn beetle scuffed the ground and banged its horn on the wall softly. "Yeah Horny you're right that kid was strange even to Fu. His smile was different than Shibuki's. His master is probably lying like everybody else does. If the offer was real why didn't the one in the Jown Invest make it? Would working for his master be any better than living alone where at least Fu has no master? Fu guesses she will always be alone. She's been left by herself since they ran out of things to teach her when she turned 14 all those years ago." The room went silent as Fu voiced that thought and the vinegaroon went back to its pile before flopping onto its side. Fu was dozing off when suddenly she felt a pull in her mind and followed it to see what her scout bug was looking at. Her eyes turned completely orange and she looked like she was in a trance. She was looking at a man on top of the hill that houses Taki. He was wearing a black cloak with red clouds and a koss over his head, while his chakra felt strangely familiar. When Fu snapped out of it she hopped off the pile and rushed out the small entrance of her sanctuary with her companions closely following. That man's chakra was dark and powerful. It was leaking out of him just as he stood there, plus he looks really scary from what my bugs saw. I think he could kill everyone in the village without even trying. Fu may not like her home but protecting it is her only purpose in life right now." With that sentence Fu and the monstrous insects rushed through the forest towards Takigakure. Kakuzu looked down at the crevice as he remembered the events that caused him to leave the village that he loved with an intense hatred festering inside of him. Flashback: a young Kakuzu walked to the chamber of the elders to receive a mission of great importance to the welfare of our fledgling village. As he entered the chamber he saw the 3 men and 1 woman sitting behind podiums on a raised dais. These people were the former head elders of the nomadic clans of Taki no Kuni, now the council that rules Taki side by side with the chief ninja, privy to all the forbidden knowledge and techniques that are in Taki. Individually they are quite skilled in the manipulation of fire, water, wind, and lightning and were once the strongest ninja in the country. After taking a knee and bowing his head Kakuzu spoke to the 4 elders of Takigakure. "Noble elders, I Kakuzu am here to receive the mission that you have for me and am honored to serve Taki in any way that I can. The woman spoke for the council as she addressed the kneeling ninja. "Kakuzu is one of our top jounin. You were present when the Shodaime Hokage delivered the Nanabi no Kabutamushi to us 3 weeks ago and saw his admirable abilities with Makuden, correct?" After receiving a nod, she continued in a sarcastic tone. "Our wise leader in his infinite wisdom decided to give his good friend a tour of the village, and he saw the tree that produces the hero water, the secret power of Takigakuer. Senju Hashirama could possibly recreate that phenomena one day with his abilities, or worse yet, if the alliance ever shifts, he may be able to kill the tree that makes the hero water. As you are well aware, Taki was formed after one of the daimyo's explorers stumbled into this hollowed-out hill and drank the tree's water and felt invigorated before dying shortly after. After his researchers discovered the potential of the hero water, he found a way to increase Taki no Kuni's power internationally. Taki, though filled with forests, fertile land, and water, is hard to live in. The wildlife grows here at a rapid pace, and most of the land is so overgrown and dense it is almost impossible to make livable and settle, so the population is sparse and the people nomadic, giving the daimyo a small treasury and army, which has hampered the country's growth." The elderly Kunoichi paused as her eyes glossed over for a second, but she quickly shook away the old memories and continued. "The daimyo tried to make other cities besides the capital, but there were never enough people or tax money to build them, and the clearings became quickly overgrown. The plan for Takigakuer was to make a small village well hidden and tightly guarded with a trump card if anything should happen. There are several disguised mail outposts in the country where some anonymous men in the daimyo's court have the mission's request discreetly mailed to those outposts from the capital city where they are sent. Waterfall Ninja would visit the outposts regularly to bring the missions back to the village where we shall complete them. As the mission number increased and the budget increased, the daimyo would invest in clear-cutting large land and gathering resources before building up small cities and slowly increasing the population, which will only benefit our village as well. The future of this nation is dependent on the security we get by possessing the hero water, and the Senju is a real threat that could stop our rise to power if the alliance ever falls apart, and I'm sure you know all the old clan sayings about alliances." Kakuzu listened to the history lecture as the importance of this mission dawned on him, and he felt a surge of pride and patriotism well up in his chest. "I am honored that you would choose me for such an important task. I will perform whatever you ask of me to the best of my ability." The wrinkled old lady gave the promising shinobi a smile before speaking again. "Kakuzu, you are a young ninja with untapped potential, which makes you perfect for this dangerous mission. You must assassinate the Shodaime Hokage." Kakuzu was floored. He was supposed to assassinate the strongest ninja in the world right now. "Elders, I thank you for your compliment to my skills, but..." The wrinkled woman raised her hand, stopping him. "Kakuzu, we wouldn't be sending you against a machine like Hashirama without some sort of trump card. It would be suicide, and you are a valued ninja of the village. You will be using this, the most forbidden technique of my clan, and now this village, Jung, Earth Grudge Fear." As she said that last word, she pulled out a glass jar containing a writhing mass of black tentacles. "It is forbidden because it is a barbaric ritual that requires the death of 5 strong men and causes the user to die, but in times of need it was necessary to preserve our clan." Kakuzu fought down his disgust at the strange creature and paid attention carefully. He heard stories of the berserkers that emerged from the Elders clan occasionally, and like everybody else he was curious about their origin. Originally the user only lived a week at most after the procedure because of the strain on the chakra network. This forced us to extract the jung from its host before it died, and the technique became lost to us. After pooling our knowledge and experimenting, we have discovered that by taking small doses of the hero water it strengthens your chakra, so the strain generated from the jung is nullified. In theory you could live forever if you keep taking minuscule doses of the hero water a few times a year. The benefit is that the only way to kill the user is by destroying all the hearts. If the fight appears lost, you can enter a false state of death for several days before the jung will reactivate your hearts. It is truly a dangerous technique, granting the user immense power, but it is fatal to all but the strongest, which is why we need you, Kakuzu. With this you could get your head cut off, and as long as the jung could reattach it before your hearts were destroyed or within 5 days, you would live. This is the trump card you need to beat the Senju." Standing and facing the elders for the first time, Kakuzu held out his hand. "I shall do everything in my power to complete this mission." The woman gave him a smile and walked forward before opening the jar and allowing the strange ball of tentacles to fall into his hand before using a dropper to give him a small dose of hero water. "We know, Kakuzu, that is why we chose you. Now place this above your heart, and when you awake you shall be stronger than any ninja in Takigakuer. But remember, no link can be made to our village." Kakuzu felt his chakra increase after drinking those few drops as he placed the strange thing over his heart before crying out in agony as it burrowed into his flesh to devour and take the place of his original heart, creating a new organ that serves as a nest for the strange parasite to spread and reproduce. He could not stand the pain past the first couple of seconds and he passed out during the gruesome procedure. Kakuzu awoke in a bed outside the village in a small hut. Rubbing the sleep from his eyes, he felt his new power rushing through his chakra network, and he felt like he could throw an elephant with ease. Kakuzu suddenly felt a strange dull rhythmic thrumming inside of his head. The Taki shinobi looked around trying to find the source of the noise, but it was hard to explain. He wasn't hearing anything. It was like there was just some type of ticking in his head and he was getting a strange urge. Following the feeling, the thrumming got louder until he entered the second room in the hut. There were 5 ninja from a prisoner camp tied to chairs and Kakuzu instinctively knew that they each had a different affinity. He couldn't explain how he knew, it was just a feeling when he looked at the 5 bound ninja. He saw the terror reflected in their eyes and looked to see his appearance in the mirror on the wall as he stared at it in shock. There appeared to be some sort of seams as black threads were bursting forth from his skin and swinging around wildly like they had a mind of their own. His neck and head were no longer attached to his torso, instead stretched out, only attached by those same monstrous threads. His arms were separated at the elbow and shoulder as tentacles burst from his mouth. Kakuzu became aware that his head was swaying side to side much like a cobra and the tentacles were squirming in what felt like anticipation. Having no idea what prompted him to do what he did, Kakuzu walked closer to the ninja as they tried to get free of their bonds. The thrumming in his head reached a sudden crescendo and tentacles exploded out of a seam in his torso before piercing the 5 ninjas through the chest and pulling their hearts back into his body. Kakuzu suddenly felt even stronger than when he woke up and felt the knowledge of all the techniques the shinobi used flood his brain as 5 masks formed in his torso. Senju Hashirama, you shall be the perfect test of my power before I crush you. Kakuzu did battle with the legendary Hokage not long after and he was utterly humiliated. He learned much though, like just using high-level jutsu and raw power wasn't enough to win a fight at high levels, but he was confident with a little training in the other forms of elemental manipulation besides earth he could defeat the Hokage's Makuten. After using his last heart, the earth-natured one, he was able to escape through the ground before the killing blow was landed. After a long 2-week journey back to Taki, he was met with an unpleasant surprise. It was around midnight and he was less than 10 miles away from the village when he heard that strange thrumming in his head again and the 4 elders stepped out of the trees. Taking an immediate knee, Kakuzu apologized. I am sorry elders, I have failed. I was rash in my actions, but I have learned much about his Makuten and my own capabilities. I will kill him next time we battle. The woman stayed silent as a skinny man on her left came forward and addressed the nin. No, you shall not, Kakuzu. The jung is not enough to overcome the senju and we will harvest it from your body after our new more powerful weapon kills you. Behold the Jinchuriki. As he finished, a small child came out from behind a tree. It appeared to be a boy around 10 years of age with mint green hair and eyes that had orange rings around the iris. He was 10 and seemed a little small for a 10-year-old boy. Kakuzu braced himself. Power of the human sacrifice, what does that mean? Jumping back, he prepared to run as he only had 1 heart when he remembered that the hero water was necessary to his survival, and when he finished that thought, a sickly green and black chakra engulfed the child, taking the shape of a large beetle with a horn, 3 tails and 4 wings. He did not run, for he was a monster now too. The thing roared and the elders stepped back as it charged. Kakuzu jumped and dodged repeatedly as the beast fired large beams of chakra at his retreating form. He saw it prepare to launch itself at him and jumped to the left as it shot past in a streak of black and green and hit a large redwood, causing it to fall. Using the earth affinity his heart provided, he called out Doden, Orijigoku no Jutsu, earth style, at lion technique, as the ground around the beast began to shift and swirl, trying to drag the creature into the depths of the earth. Just as the technique ended, the topsoil exploded upwards as the Jinchuriki burst out with 4 wings flapping wildly as it flew towards Kakuzu while firing chakra lasers. Raising a decoy earth wall, Kakuzu used the Doden, Moguregaku no Jutsu, hiding like a mole technique, to escape the blasts. He emerged on the other side of the elders without them knowing, and though they may not have sensed him, the monster did, and then launched a large chakra ball at them. Not expecting it, the elders were injured trying to dodge the blast as Kakuzu avoided it completely and trapped them in separate earth coffins before burying them to prevent the old crones from dying in the crossfire. Facing the creature, Kakuzu noticed that it seemed to be in pain and struggling to keep going. Of course, the kid's body can't handle the strain. I just have to last a little longer before he collapses and I can get away. Confident in his new game plan, Kakuzu started to dance around the beast, launching random boulders with his earth affinity, trying to make the creature mad. It may have worked a little too well, as it began firing off blasts larger than before, almost disintegrating the Taki ninja several times. After failing to hit him, the aura of chakra intensified around, turning the grass around it brown as it launched itself at Kakuzu even faster than before, trying to pummel him mindlessly. He dodged to the left and substituted himself with a chunk or rock that was destroyed by a tail piercing it. Kakuzu then rushed towards it, dodging a barrage of thin chakra beams until he was pierced by a tail from underground. He crumbled into rocks, revealing it was an earth clone as a voice called out Doden, Doriuso, rising stone spears, as large spikes of earth rose up from the ground trying to skewer the Jinchuriki. However, they all broke instead of piercing it. That was not the purpose of the attack. The beast was held immobile as Kakuzu called out Doden, Ganbankyu, Bedrock Coffin, as several large rectangular plates of earth rose from the ground circling around the beast before all speeding towards it, creating a large impact as dust rose above the trees. Several chakra blasts broke through the dust as Kakuzu leapt from the tree and ran towards the creature, throwing several kunai with explosive dags trailing behind. They bounced off the chakra cloak before exploding, knocking the beast backwards as Kakuzu rushed forward trying to run from the clearing. The Jinchuriki followed and quickly overtook the bounty hunter, wrapping him in its tails. As it began to squeeze the life out of the ninja, a voice called out Doten, Dosikiryu, Earth and Stone Dragon, as an avalanche of stone and dirt with the head of a dragon rushed towards the mindless animal, engulfing it in a shower of earth. It fired a large chakra ball and jumped out of the hole. Once it landed, it began stumbling around, shrieking in pain before collapsing on the hard earth. Breathing a sigh of relief as the chakra receded, leaving the green-haired boy laying in the grass. His skin looked like it was peeled off in places and his clothes were shredded in various places. Weird, why would a boy wear pink underwear? I swear kids these days. Looking at the smoking body, Kakuzu saw a seal glowing on the boy's chest and spoke to himself, did they really seal the creature into this boy? That seems cruel, making a kid into a weapon. The older shinobi looked down at the cursed CHLD, you may hate me for this, but I cannot kill you, that may release the beast. After making sure the beast would not reawaken, Kakuzu raised the four elders out of the earth, and that ticking noise started in his head once more. It is very convenient that all four of you have an affinity that I need. I'm sure your old hearts will survive long enough for me to find some young spry ones to replace them. Allowing the earth coffins to crumble, he walked up to the unconscious elders that lay crumpled on the ground. Thank you for the organs. I hope the village can survive without the hero water because I'm taking it. And with that, former Taki Nin made his last trip home before fleeing from the country. Flashback, and Kakuzu stared down at the crevice where he entered and exited Taki on that fateful night. No use in getting nostalgic now, I've got something to do and I better do it quickly, after all time is money. And with that, Kakuzu jumped into the fissure and back into his old village. Naruto clenched his fists in rage as Team 7 followed Shibuki through the treetops. They emerged into a clearing with one of the largest waterfalls that Naruto had ever laid eye on. The water was sparkling as it fell from the cliff, and a multitude of flowers dotted both sides of the riverbank in various colors. The beauty was lost on the blonde Jinan as he tried to crush his anger at witnessing two kids his age that were so callously murdered. I'll never kill kids, I promise that on my Nindo. I have to calm down though, if I get a hot head I'll probably make a mistake like what happened on the bridge. I need to clamp down my anger and think my plans through. Breathe, Naruto, deep breaths, Goosefraba. The blonde Jinan finished his self-soothing as Shibuki broke the silence. Here it is, the entrance to the Takigakur is right behind the waterfall. We will have to swim through a tunnel to get there. His sensei turned to address Shibuki, entering like that into the village is an unnecessary risk. Are there any other ways that are less dangerous into the village? There are, but I'm not showing you guys. Naruto took a deep breath as he tried not to snap. We're going out of our way to help your people and this is how you repay us. I'm still going in, but if we die I'm kicking your ass down to hell in the afterlife. His piece said. Naruto followed the chief of Taki into the stream and began swimming through the tunnel. When they finally broke the surface of the water and hopped out of the well, Naruto was overwhelmed. The city was aflame everywhere as buildings looked like they were hit with explosions. The air smelled of smoke and blood and the occasional scream could be heard echoing from the village. Kakashi emerged last and took in the situation for a few seconds before he gave his orders. Alright team, we will move in the shadows through the city and try to assess the situation, so stay close and quiet. Naruto followed his sensei as he said, right Kaka-sensei, let's get our asses in the situation. Wondering why his teammates all sighed, Naruto scratched his head as they followed the silver-haired Jounin. When they got closer, Shibuki suddenly blurted out, I can't do this, I mean we're just sneaking around and my people are getting hurt, so I'm going to go see if I can help anyone over there. Finishing his sentence, Shibuki ran off at full speed towards an untouched area in the village, leaving a trail of dust behind him. Once again scratching his head in confusion, Naruto asked, why is he going that way if most of the damage looks like it's in the other direction? And also, wouldn't it be easier to see wounded people if he was going slower? He was only answered by two sighs as his teammates turned away from the retreating figure of Shibuki and continued on the path as he asked, "Come on, why do you guys keep sighing? Was it something I said, guys? Oh come on, don't ignore me." After Naruto quieted down, Team 7 continued to creep through the shadows when they came upon 4 ninja causing havoc, launching jutsu and kunai wrapped in exploding tags into the village at random. Ninja were frantically moving everywhere trying to evacuate the wounded and civilians while launching weak attacks trying to stop the enemies without causing too much damage to the buildings and people. They weren't having much success as one of the attacking nins laughed psychotically as he hit a ninja carrying a wounded kunoichi and civilian with a Raiten jutsu, frying all three. Naruto had to use every shred of self-control and willpower not to jump into the middle of it and trying to save everybody. Instead he just muttered, "Damn," under his breath and looked at his sensei. The masked man wasn't even looking at the battle, instead he appeared to be scanning the surrounding area. He did that for about 20 more seconds before he nodded his head once and looked at Naruto. "Okay Naruto, I want maneuver 5 prepared and we attack those ninja with formation Bravo." Listening to his orders, Naruto made a cross sign with his fingers and muttered, "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." As 16 clones formed, 4 immediately jumped away, leaving 12 Bunshin surrounding the squad. The original Team 7 moved into ambush positions as the 12 Naruto clones formed hand signs and yelled out Fuuten, Gukuho, Great Air Cannon, and a barrage of 12 medium-sized balls of wind launched at the 4 ninja. They all dodged the air bullets, but they proved to be a distraction as 3 clones surrounded each of them and the original Team 7 made their move. Kakashi emerged from the ground before impaling one with a kunai through his rebreather, piercing his throat, and it appeared like Sai. Did he really just make a man drown from ink by shoving a snake down his throat? Remind me not to make him mad. Wait, can he even get mad? Naruto broke out of his thoughts as he jumped from his hiding place, and when he was over, the ninja launched another Guko as his clones restrained the ninja. As it hit him, the wind bullet crushed his skull like a grape, killing him instantly. The one wearing the mask similar to Kakashi's dispelled his clones quickly with some weird whip and was rushing at Sakura, ready to strike with the water whip, only for her to pull back a sleeve and launch some senbon needles into the man as he dropped like a sack of lead. Naruto shuddered at the sight. The poison coating the needles in her launcher wasn't pretty, as they were a last line of defense. Feeling guilty that his clones failed and Sakura was forced to use one of her last resorts, he almost missed the sizzling kunai as it landed by his feet. Naruto jumped out of the blast radius, landing back to back with his team as multiple explosions went off and they were surrounded by 4 different ninja. One with a yellow bandana and crazy hair spoke, "That was an impressive ambush. I was surprised that you managed to kill my team that fast. But that is the way of the ninja, is it not? Deception and surprise." Naruto wasn't really worried. These guys were on a similar level as the others and none of them could hold a candle to Kakashi. About to enter into the awesome banter that ninjas get into before battles, for some weird reason he was stopped as 4 more ninja flashed around them. "Suin-sama, I could not find the objective, and while we were checking another location I saw this, and though we could help you deal with this nuisance, the city is in shambles and the ninja mostly subdued. I think many were out on missions." "Alright, maybe now I'm a little worried." Kakuzu looked over his former village as he dropped down from the plateau next to the market district. He frowned a little at seeing it up in flames and many ninja and civilians wounded and dead. "I was looking forward to tearing this place up a bit too. How disappointing." Stepping over the body of a wounded ninja, Kakuzu suddenly jumped to his left as the earth underneath him twisted on itself as it tried to bury him. "Retsu Dunshu, split earth, turn around palm, A." Turning around, he saw several 4-man squads of ninja grouped together like lambs before a slaughter. "Maybe I can still have some fun." One of the grunts stepped forward to address Kakuzu, "Surrender now and leave. We don't have time to waste right now." Chuckling at their insolence, Kakuzu responded, Now I came all this way for something and I don't want to leave without it, so run along or I will kill you." The ninja shivered as Kakuzu delivered the last 4 words with an ice-cold voice while projecting his substantial killer intent. "WRNN not SC scared of you." Smiling from under his scarf, Kakuzu relished their fear as their heartbeats increased rapidly. "You're lying, I can tell. It's a good thing that I scare you though. You see, fear is a natural reaction that your body has when you are in danger that changes your body chemistry, increasing your reactions and capabilities, thereby improving your chances of living in a dangerous situation. But in this case it doesn't do anything except amuse me. So I'll give you till 3 to run away." Before he could start counting, all the ninja turned around and scrambled away from the imposing figure in a large group. Katen, Zukaku, fire release, intense pain. Kakuzu watched as his S-rank jutsu incinerated the 12 shinobi who tried to stop him. "Looks like I forgot to count." Continuing his walk, Kakuzu remembered when his clan first joined the village. He was already a high-ranking ninja and he was only 16 when Taki was formed. Looking over he saw the fancy restaurant where he took his first girlfriend on their first date in flames. That was so long ago, I would have died for this place with a smile on my face, but when I failed to kill one of the strongest ninja that ever lived they deem me a failure and try to kill me. I'll have the last laugh because before I leave Taki will be burned to the ground and I'll have outlived it. Hopefully the chapter is decent, but these are my first fight scenes, and I wanted to make a Kakuzu-centric chapter for some reason. He survived in the ninja world for 100 years before he was killed by Naruto, so he has to have some stories. I wanted to explore his character a little bit and try to explain the Jung and the history of Taki in this chapter. I gave you guys some big hints about a twist coming up next chapter, a big cookie if you get it because it is obvious but you need to read closely. Anyway, review and tell me what you think of the fight scenes and how I can improve them. It's too late for next chapter, but I will take the advice under consideration for the Chunin exam fights. Also, if you watch the anime, I'm sure you'll agree Rock Lee is officially a clone of Mido Guy created by Orochimaru and freed after he fled before he could put a chakra network in. Till next time, people smoke billet into the air above the villages. Team 7 stood back to back surrounded by 8 ninja at an intersection. The leader of the rogue ninja, Sween, stepped forward while gesturing to the ruined city. Konoha ninja, there is no reason for you to be interfering in this battle. It would be in your best interest to surrender and allow us to finish without any more resistance on your part. The village is in shambles. If you allow us to leave unimpeded, I swear you can leave here with your lives. In response to Sween, Team 7's Captain Kakashi lazily drawled, "No thanks, we decent people have something called a conscience, though I have to ask why you are doing this? It must be a hell of a prize if you are risking life and limb to invade a hidden village, no matter how minor. I suppose that I could give you a history lesson on one of Taki's darker secrets. I am honestly just a simple man that wants to live comfortably for the rest of my life. But as a Jonin I was a staunch patriot wanting to raise Taki's prowess in the world. When Taki covertly joined in the destruction of Uzumaki for the promise of jutsu scrolls and sealing techniques, and it was there I saw the futility of villages like Takigakure. I was but a simple Jonin, part of the troops behind the line in charge of maintaining camp. There were a handful of minor villages and 2 major ones that joined in a temporary alliance to put down the dangerous Uzumaki clan. At this point Naruto's face became shell-shocked and he listened intently while Kakashi gave him a concerned look and Sakura seemed confused. All the villages shared a single camp and I saw the difference between the 5 great villages and the minor ones. All the ninja of the same rank were so much stronger, bigger, faster, or knew more jutsu. Their jounin were at the same level as the few elite units and village leaders. Sometimes when off-duty the Jonin would spar if tempers and village pride flared. The Jonin from the major villages would laugh when 2 from minor villages fought, saying it was like watching toddlers, and if one of us happened to spar with a Jonin from a major village they'd get decimated. Sween grimaced while remembering the outline of lightning around the body of a particularly gifted Kumo Jonin. Once I watched the strongest Jonin from Kiri and Kumo fight and they could have easily beaten almost any Chunin in Taki, but it wasn't until a small band of Uzumaki hit the camp in retribution that I truly saw the difference between the villages. The Uzumaki were truly formidable, slaughtering any opponent they faced with high-level water jutsu and their deadly Fuuin jutsu, no matter the village. It wasn't until the Sun Daime Raikage stepped on the scene that I saw why the smaller villages had no hope of gaining strength, how they simply existed at the whim of the great powers. That man slaughtered the 15 attackers who could barely be touched in the blink of an eye. I am sure that any one of the 5 Kage would be able to destroy Takigakure if the mood came over them. Look at what my band of 12 did to this pathetic place. I waited and bided my time until I learned all that I could and then left hoping to find a big payday and live easy. Fortunately my client needed a job done inside the waterfall, and who better to do it than a rogue ninja from the secretive village itself. I will complete this mission and retire, kid, then be a lazy slob the rest of my life. Naruto didn't know what to say. He found out that there was an Uzumaki clan. He had a family and it was a ninja clan, a feared and powerful ninja clan. It was only seconds later that he learned they were slaughtered because of that fear. Then he finds out this man is killing innocent people for a payday. I can't forgive people like you. You come to a village you abandoned for selfish reasons because you didn't want to work hard to get strength, and then you killed all these people for money. Kids lost their parents and are orphans now and all alone, while mothers and fathers have to watch their kids get buried, all just so you can live easy. You are one of the worst types of scum there is. Finding her resolve somewhere during her Naruto's speech, Sakura spoke up as well. Naruto is right, this is deplorable, hurting civilians just because you can. We're definitely going to stop you here and now. Laughing at the girl, Murusame managed to get out between laughs. Ha, that's a good one, girly. But how is a Jonin team and their Jounin sensei going to stop the 8 of us? You should have taken the chance to surrender. But it's people like you on their high horse looking down at me that makes me mad, so now I'm going to kill you nice and slow." Suin raised his hand halting his subordinate's advance. "Calm down Muru-sama, now let us show them our power." Ready the combination attack. Suin, Hisame, and Muru-sama began the hand seals for their jutsu. Suin and Hisame launched the same Suten jutsu first as Muru-sama finished his seals calling out, "Suten, Hanryu, water release, tearing torrent," as rotating balls of water formed in their outstretched hands. They merged the two spheres together and a large vortex of water shot towards Team 7 as Muru-sama held his two hands apart with lightning crackled. Between, Raiten, Jaibashi, electromagnetic murder, as a web of electricity shot out of his hands supercharging the water as it crashed over the four Konoha ninja. Collaboration Jutsu, Poseidon's Rage. Unbeknownst to the invaders, the four shadow clones that Naruto created and spread out earlier substituted themselves with Team 7 just as the large wall of water blocked them from view. Beginning Maneuver 5. Naruto looked up to see his sensei beginning some seals as he started a set of his own while concentrating the chakra as much as possible to condense the attack. Naruto and Kakashi finished at the same time intoning Fuuten, Daitapa and Kaden, Karyudan, Fire Dragon Bomb. The condensed Daitapa fueled the raging fires of the Karyudan as Naruto and Kakashi called out in sync, Collaboration Jutsu, Wrath of the Fire Dragon. The inferno raged down the street, greedily devouring oxygen as the flames consumed everything in its path. Two of Hanzo's guards foolishly tried to erect water barriers that were quickly evaporated by the superheated flames as they soon followed turning to ash under the white-hot blaze. Another one was hit by an ink bird and was caught in the end of the jutsu, and as the flames dissipated he moaned pitifully in pain, unable to move. Muru-sama managed to dodge, but the upturned chair he landed next to turned into the pink-hair girl he taunted as she slipped a kunai under his ribs, piercing his heart. Suin regrouped with Hisame and the remaining two members of Hanzo's former guard. "We should retreat. That silver-haired Jounin is the copy ninja. We have no chance against an opponent like him." Throwing smoke bombs on the ground, the foursome escaped into the city. Turning to Hisame, Suin said, "If the water wasn't in any of the spots I gave you, then there is only one spot it could be, but I didn't think that my student would hide it there." Kakuzu watched the Konoha team battle the invaders. "Of course, I am simply remembering how a fight with a Konohanin got me banished from this village, and there are 4 Konohanin protecting Taki. I'm slightly impressed. They're pretty decent for a Jonin team, and they avoided the jutsu with shadow clones created by a brat. That's preposterous. A kid can't make shadow clones, he should have died trying." Kakuzu watched as the group of shinobi that launched the collaboration jutsu made an amateur mistake and let their guard down, only for them to be taken down by a collaboration jutsu from a Jounin and Jonin. Also quite impressive, and the resulting fire blast had at least A rank power and was much more formidable than the one created by 3 experienced ninja. That blonde kid will have give me quite a payday in the future. Looking more closely at the Konohanin, he focused in on the one with the flak jacket. "Well, what do you know, I might make some money in this place after all, and quite a bit at that." Hatake Kakashi, the copy nin, high A rank to low S rank depending on the bingo book you check. If you include the money from Iwa, Kumo, some minor villages like Yugakure, several incredibly powerful crime lords, and the value of a sharingan eye, the total bounty on his head close to 70 million ryo, one of the highest for an affiliated ninja. This couldn't get any better. I'll get the hero water and a large paycheck off of Akatsuki's radar for my personal account. Preparing his lightning heart, Kakuzu took aim, waiting for his opportunity. When the copy nin turned to take in the retreating forms of the other ninja, Kakuzu struck, Raiten, John, false darkness. Just as the spear of lightning was ready to be launched, a foot hit his chin, hurling the jutsu up in the air, crashing into the ceiling of the cavern, sending boulders crashing down. Looking angrily at his attacker, Kakuzu couldn't believe what he was seeing. That has to be the Jinchuriki's grandkid or something. This homecoming is bringing back some old memories. The girl's eyes widened as she got a good look at him before pointing a finger his way and shouting, "You! Fu can't believe it, everything is your fault. It's because of you that Fu lives outside the village. She was supposed to be a hero, but they blamed the deaths of the elders that you killed on Fu and banished her." Raising his eyebrow in confusion, Kakuzu responded, "What are you talking about? There was no way that was you. All that happened over 100 years ago. Just because your grandpa got the shaft doesn't make it my fault. You think they would forgive your family after all this time, but Taki is a pathetic and petty village, so I'm not too surprised." The girl's orange eyes hardened in anger. "That wasn't Fu's grandpa, that was Fu you fought." Kakuzu's jaw would have dropped if it wasn't sewn to his top lip by the jung. "There's no way, that fight was almost 100 years ago, you should be dead." Yes, Fu is confused as well. She is still alive because her seal allowed her chakra coils to slowly adjust to the Nanabi's power, so now the Kabutamushi's chakra is powering her body's systems, keeping her alive and healthy, but you should be dead. Kakuzu broke out laughing. Ha, we're more alike than I thought all those years ago. We're both monsters, immortal, and have been shunned by our home. This is too rich, so you've been here thanklessly defending them since I left all those years ago, and took the blame for my crimes. I couldn't have planned that better. The mint-haired girl was shaking with rage. Shut up. As she screamed, Kakuzu jumped back as a barrage of needles came down from the sky, seemingly launched by a giant hornet. As he touched down, he had to dodge again as a club-like arm hit the ground, where he landed, crushing the earth and sending rocks flying everywhere. Kakuzu called out Katen, Zukaku, and sent a stream of fire at the freakish bug. The stream was blocked as it came out of his mask by a black and white beetle's shell, nullifying the flames. He was about to charge the girl when he had to duck as a large, sharp, and green arm tried to decapitate him, and he rolled to the left as it pursued, quickly slashing its arm diagonally at his chest. Kakuzu blocked it with an earth wall as a giant beetle with a lump protruding out the front of its shell dropped from the sky onto where he just was, causing fissures to spread through the ground and the wall to collapse. As he landed, the Vinegaroon fired a large green ball of goo out its ass at him, so he erected another earth wall that was quickly dissolving from the green liquid. Getting tired of being outnumbered by the insects during their assault, Kakuzu ripped off his shirt, revealing his 5 masks. Let me introduce you to my partners. As he finished speaking, the blue, yellow, red, silver masks separated from his body before gaining tentacle-like bodies, and the silver one fired a blast of wind that separated the bugs. Fu undid one of the red straps around her shoulders. Perhaps Fu should get serious too. Removing the lid, what seemed like thousands of beetles swarmed around her, coming from the red container. They were huge for normal bugs, around 5 to 7 inches long, and were a sickly green and black. They had long pointed tubes for mouths and sharp legs, so even if one landed on you it would hurt. They were so thick that you could hardly see Fu through them all as they swarmed. Behold Fu's prize from defeating an Aburame, destruction bugs that run off demonic chakra. As she finished saying that, the swarm tried to attack Kakuzu, but his skin was too hard and the bugs were unable to pierce his skin or the strange creatures with masks and inject their deadly chakra poison into the ninja. Deciding to improvise, Fu would use them as cover, allowing her bugs to attack unseen periodically. She had him on the run and was about to attack herself when she had to dodge an air blade that almost decapitated her. Fu paused her attack and stared down her old nemesis as they finally had the grudge match she dreamed of all these years. Team 7 watched the fight after seeing the lightning bolt crash into the roof of the mountain, sending boulders crashing down. The Jinan, even Sai, had expressions of awe on their face watching the two 100-year-old ninja do battle. Naruto managed to tear his eye away and look at his sensei. Kaka-sensei, shouldn't we go after the other 4? Smiling down at the blonde, Kakashi began, so eager, my cute student. Yes, we will, but I want to understand what is going on here first, and I think I got all I could. That green-haired girl is the strongest ninja in the village, and she is holding off that other one. He is a greater threat than the other 4 combined, so I was debating the options available to us and I have a plan. Sakura looked at her serious sensei. Kaka-sensei, don't leave us guessing. What are doing? We have to help these people. Looking in the direction Suin and the others escaped in, Kakashi nicked his thumb on a kunai before doing some hand signs and uttering Kushios no Jutsu, and a small tan pug wearing a blue bandana and leaf headband appeared in a puff of smoke. Yo Kakashi. Sorry Pakun, no time to talk. Here's the scent, can you guide my cute students to it? They have to keep them from getting away, only trail them if you don't think they can pull it off. Taking a deep whiff of the piece of cloth Kakashi obtained during the scuffle, Pakun answered, no problem. Now where are the kids? Turning, he saw 2 wide-mouthed Jinan and 1 pale one with a weird look on his face. The pink-haired one stuttered out, "THT, the dog TTT talked." Deciding to mess with the girl, Pakun responded after taking a deep whiff, hold on. Yup, I like your choice in shampoo, Pinky. I use the same one. The girl looked mortified as her face turned pale and ashy as she sulked, I smell like a dog. Turning away from the girl, Pakun addressed the other 2 kids, alright, let's go, follow me. As he took off, the 3 followed and Kakashi turned his attention back to the fight. It's been a while since I've been in a fight on this level, let's see if I still got it. With those words he pulled up his headband, revealing his crimson and black eye. Shibuki was cowering in his hiding spot. He was under the pointed roof of the village's financial building. It was one of the tallest structures in the village because it had a large pointed roof, and Shibuki built a trapdoor at the top to access the space underneath. He could see almost the whole village from the great tree to the well used for entering and exiting the hidden village. This was his sanctuary as a child, and no one found him when he was hiding here, not even his sensei or dad. Looking out over his village now though, Shibuki found no feeling of peace or safety. Most of the city was rubble or flames, and there were still signs of battle going on as Shibuki saw flashes of lightning, fire, and felt the earth move periodically. There's no way I can compete in a fight on that level, it looks like everyone is doomed. I don't know why you didn't pick someone else to lead the village, father. I'm just a coward and weakling, everyone is dying while I do nothing. I guess I'm letting you down. You never got scared whenever you protected the village. I wish I could be as brave as you. I wonder what you'd say to me now, Dad. Wallowing in self-pity, Shibuki suddenly recalled a scene from his childhood. It was so long ago that he'd forgotten the lesson, but it seemed like he could recall the event down to the last detail for some reason. Flashback: a young brunette child with short spiky hair was crying in a park holding his scraped knee. As the child cried oblivious to the world, a man with short gray and brown hair with a small beard bent down and picked him up so the young boy was sitting on his shoulders with his hands resting in short hair. The child slowly stopped crying and the man began speaking in a comforting tone. "Why did you run off like that, Shibuki-chan?" Sniffling a little, the child responded, "Daddy, the dog barked at me and then tried to eat Shibuki." The man laughed at his child's sentence. "You know, the way you said that reminded me of an old friend." The dog forgot and he scrunched his face up cutely in confusion and asked his father, "I'm a little boy, Daddy, how can I remind you of a big grown-up?" Putting his boy down as they sat on a bench, the man answered, "It was because you said your own name when you talk to me, and she does that a lot. She never uses I or me in a sentence, substituting her name instead. She sounds funny, can I meet her?" Smiling fondly down at his son, he answered, "Maybe when you get older." "But Shibuki, why did you run so far away from the dog? I couldn't find you. I always tell you to make sure you can see me when we go out." Looking down at the ground, the child swung his legs back and forth. "'Cause I was a scared, Dad. The dog was gonna eat me." "No, Shibuki, it probably just wanted to give you a kiss and play with you a little bit. There was no reason to be scared. Now let's go get some ice cream. But don't tell your mom, we haven't had dinner yet." Not responding to his father, Shibuki just kept looking at his feet as they swung back and forth. "Dad, I'm always scared. I wish I could be brave like you and never get frightened. But everybody calls me a scaredy cat and says I'll be a chicken forever." Kneeling in front of his son and lifting his chin, the man began to talk in a gentle tone. "Shibuki, I get scared too." Seeing his child's surprised look at hearing that, he continued, "For instance, I was terrified when I stopped talking to those people and I couldn't find you. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. To be brave means you face that fear and overcome it, and I'll face any fear to protect this village, and you, Shibuki-chan." Staring in awe at the man, the lesson went over the child's head, but he did know one thing: when I grow up I'm gonna be a leader just like you, Dad, and everyone is going to call me brave 'cause I'll get over my fears. Laughing at his son's enthusiasm, he adopted a lecturing tone. "Now Shibuki, you can't just be brave to be the leader of this village and protect the people. You have to be strong too, and willing to put your life on the line to protect them and the village. Do you think you can do it?" "Of course, Dad, I'll be an even better chief than you." "Alright then, Shibuki, I'll help you be the leader of this village, but you have to train hard and get strong, okay?" Saluting his father, Shibuki answered, "Yes sir." Picking Shibuki back up and putting him on his shoulders once more, the man walked towards the village. "Alright, we'll start tomorrow, but for now let's get that ice cream." Smiling father and son walked back into the village. Flashback: and as Shibuki broke out of the weird memory trance, he sat there ashamed as feelings of guilt and worthlessness overcame him. "I promised my dad I would put my life on the line to protect this village, and I'm hiding like a coward while my people are fighting and dying. What makes me feel even worse is that I ran away and those Konoha ninjas stayed behind to protect the people when they didn't have to. Some leader I am, well no more, I'm going out there and protecting my village just like my father did. And Fu, I completely forgot about her. I've been so busy that I've neglected to visit her, another promise that I broke. Well, I'm going to fix that too. After this mess is over, I'll make sure that Fu can live in a village like Dad wanted, but for now I have to stop this mess." As he stood up and grabbed some supplies he stockpiled over the years, Shibuki looked out over his village once more and saw 4 figures running through the village towards a spot that only he and his sensei knew about. They could have been some ninja going to a million different places in response to the attack, but he knew they were going there because one of the shinobi was his sensei that they all thought died on a solo mission a couple years ago. "Sensei, what are you doing here? What's going on?" Jumping out the trapdoor, Shibuki trailed the ninja, trying to figure out what was happening. Is Sensei behind this attack, and Ome as well? They must be after the hero water. But if they're here, then what happened to the Konoha team? Did they die? Shibuki was worried about Team 7, especially Naruto. Despite his initial misgivings, the brat grew on him. There was something about him that just grabbed your attention and made you want to trust the kid, Naruto got so upset at seeing our Jonan killed. He has one of the biggest hearts I've ever seen, I hope he's alright. After taking a quick detour and losing sight of the group, Shibuki arrived at the second largest tree in Taki. It was larger than the financial building that Shibuki was hiding in, and the middle was hollowed out, creating a small chamber where the hero water is housed. There were small windows with just enough room for Shibuki to squeeze through. Alright, I'll wait up here on the rafters until Suin grabs the weight, and then I'll kill him and drink some to get a power boost before killing the other three. For now it's just the waiting game. The game didn't last very long as the four invaders walked up to the hero water. Shibuki, tense to Suin, reached forward and disabled all the traps around the gourd before reaching to grab it. As soon as he touched it, two kunai held by Shibuki stabbed into his kidneys. The head ninja of Taki stepped back and gazed in shock as the body he stabbed revealed itself to be Mizubunshine. The last words he heard before infinite blackness were, "You certainly are foolish, Shibuki. Did you think you could surprise your old sensei?" Suddenly he felt a kunai pierce the back of his neck where brain and spine met as he knew no more. Suin watched the body of his former student bounced off the hardwood floor as blood and brain matter oozed out of the wound in his neck. Throwing the dirtied kunai into the corpse, Suin walked forward, grabbing the gourd before putting it in the cushioned holster he designed just to hold the hero water. Speaking to his team, he began, "It appears those Konoha nin decided to stay behind and help the wounded. That's a leaf nin for you though, bleeding hearts through and through. Let's get out of here while they are distracted and slip out the secret entrance." His team followed him as he jumped out of the chamber and began hopping from building to building toward the secret entrance with haste. When they finally exited the village proper, they ran across the field towards the plateau and hidden tunnel at full speed. After about 30 seconds of running in the field, Suin and his companions stopped and jumped backwards to avoid a large cloud of red gas. 3 of the nin managed to get away without breathing any, but Hisame inhaled some of the fumes and began wobbling around as if drunk. An ink bird then smashed into one of Hanzo's personal guards while he was in the air, breaking his rebreather and knocking him into the cloud, causing him to inhale some poison gas as he hit the ground. Standing back to back with the last of the rain nin, Suin added for the mission, he cursed. The only other person that would have been of use to him in the battle inhaled poison gas, leaving him with just one of Hanzo's pathetic guards. Taking a quick glance around, he saw the 2 that inhaled the gas dancing around, laughing like they ate some of Waterfall's special mushrooms. Suin quickly turned and grabbed a foot that was about to strike him. Throwing the blonde into the dissipating cloud of poison, he cackled as the Jonan started to run around like a loon. Suin's laughing at the amateur mistake of getting incapacitated by his team's own poison was quickly cut off as the Rouge Nin frowned when the child burst into a cloud of smoke and more of those blasted clones exploded through the ground with explosive tags attached to their bodies. Just as the blasts rang out, Suin used Kawamiri with the rain nin that inhaled the poison, leaving him to die in the large explosion. Patting the fire out on his sleeve, Suin landed next to the other rain nin and grabbed Hisame as he called for a retreat. They broke away for about a second before the black body of an ink lion blew past Suin and hit Hanzo's guard, causing him to drop his umbrella he was holding as he tumbled away from Suin and tangled with the beast. Picking up the umbrella, he opened it and blocked the senbon the kunoichi threw at him before flipping a hidden switch and throwing it in the air. Ninpa, Juro senbon, ninja art, raining needles from heaven. The umbrella then expelled what seemed like hundreds of senbon, forcing Team 7 to fall back a good distance. Facing the 3 Jonan, Suin pumped chakra to his leg muscles and rocketed toward them at high speeds. Steering clear of the tricky blonde and poison user, he clotheslined the pale-haired boy, launching him away from his comrades. He rushed the disoriented boy with a kunai drawn, going for the kill, but as he stabbed down, he realized he only managed to impale the blonde's arm before he looked up and saw mismatched blue and red eyes looking at him. Staring into the red one, it began spinning hypnotically as he kicked the Jonan's form away from him. Jumping back, he landed next to Hisame's body as the world around him rippled for a second and the unconscious kunoichi turned into a clone that was suddenly giving him a bear hug with an exploding tag burning on its chest. Looking at the real blonde as he held his bleeding right arm, and Suin could only mutter, "Sharingan," and he saw that irritating brat's lips move as he uttered, "Boom," and Suin wasted his last breath cursing Danzo and his mission before being consumed by the flames. Sai looked strangely at Naruto as he moved to tie up Hisame and the one surviving Ame ninja. He let the ink binds around the one he subdued lose their forms as his blonde teammate tied him up. Finally unable to think anymore, Sai had to ask, "Why did you do that, Naruto? You could have used the opportunity to strike down Suin as he killed me. Why would you risk yourself to save me? You hate me, don't you?" Scratching his head in embarrassment, Naruto answered his emotionally stunted teammate, "I don't hate you, Sai. Sure, sometimes you piss me off with the dickless shit, but you're my teammate. So because I am on your team you saved me? Well, yeah, remember the conversation last night? Kakashi-sensei told you his saying, those that break the rules are trash, but those that abandon their comrades are worse than trash. You may not be my best friend, but you are my teammate and we share a bond that I want to protect. Sai showed confusion at the answer. You and I have a bond? When did that happen? Smiling at the artist, Naruto rested his elbow on Sai's shoulder. The moment we became teammates. You know, Sasuke and I used to argue and fight all the time, but we had a bond like brothers. You and I fight all the time, and even though I don't consider you my brother, you are a friend and I protect my friends. Sai mouthed the word slowly as if testing it. Friends. Yes, Sai, friends. You and I have a bond like you and your brother in the book used to have, and though it may be different than the bonds we lost, it is still a bond that I will fight for. Sakura finished administering the antidote to the two bound nin before she walked over to them and put her hand on Sai's other shoulder. I may hate you all the time, but I feel the same as Naruto. You're our friend and our teammate, and like we said yesterday, we watch out for each other on Team 7. Sai stood there in shock as a weird feeling rose up inside his torso that made him feel really good as he felt his lips move uncontrollably. I understand. You were mad at me yesterday because I insulted your bond with Sasuke. I remember what I wanted to draw now. Taking his book out of his pack, Sai began drawing furiously in the two empty pages as his teammates looked on. He finished sketching and showed them the picture. It was Sai and his brother back to back holding a bow staff and Naginata facing off against a horde of monsters with a smile on his face. As his teammates looked at the picture, Naruto fell down on his butt as he gripped the wound on his right arm, hissing in pain. Sakura began scolding him while applying disinfectant and bandaging him. Honestly, Naruto, didn't you have any clones left that could have substituted with Sai? Honestly, you don't think about your actions and then you get this nasty gash. I'll stitch it up after everything gets settled here, okay? As she finished wrapping the bandages, the three Genin looked up to the sky upon hearing the chirping of what had to be a large flock of birds. The only thing that greeted them was the stone ceiling of Takigakura and the voice echoing across the field, Reikari. Kakashi was waiting for the strange shinobi to once again try to escape and counter the other girl before attacking. He admired her coordinated assaults using the different bugs effectively to keep the strange ninja on his heels. She'd put an Aburame to shame. After eavesdropping on the conversation with his enhanced hearing, Kakashi was reluctant to get involved, but after remembering Suin's confession of how Taki had a hand in the slaughter of Kushina Nichin's clan, he figured they might as well make the most of the situation and try to get the Nanabi Jinchuriki to return to Konoha. Kakashi realized the danger of getting in a fight with the two ancient ninja, but the risk was worth the reward and he sent a Mizu Bunshine to the Dan Beauty to deliver a message before it dissolved into water. Since then he's only corralled Kakuzu back in a handful of times, but the rogue nin was adjusting to his attack speed and timing incredibly fast and was about to be able to counter Kakashi's moves. Grinning under his mask, the wily copycat realized it was time to get to work. Kakuzu was quickly getting annoyed at his predicament. Alone the Jinchuriki or copy nin would have been an entertaining fight, but their combined forces proved to be deadly despite them never fighting together. After conferring with the ancient woman, the Konoha nin added himself to the fray and was pushing Kakuzu harder than he's been in a long time. The bounty hunter quickly realized that he would be better off recalling his masks after the heart capable of using Raiten was almost devoured by the giant Vinegaroon. The club-like arms opened up and extended, revealing massive appendages that just missed pulling the yellow lightning mask into its gaping mouth before cracking the mask with a whip-like tail after failing to capture it. After recalling his minions, Kakuzu had no support and had to face all the bugs and Jounin on his own as he continued to dodge the salvo of attacks launched by the two ninja. It would appear to be a coordinated routine from an observer's point of view, but to Kakuzu the attacks were unpredictable and deadly. Only instincts and reflexes honed over 100 years allowed him to outpace them and survive the lethal assault. To make it even harder, the Jinchuriki has just as much experience as he does and is incredibly shrewd when maneuvering her pets. There is no apparent pattern to the attacking bugs as they mix up speeds and attack combinations like old pros, making it difficult to find space to counter. He would have been able to escape the insects if it wasn't for that blasted copy nin. But Kakuzu was finally getting the feel for Kakashi's attacks. He just needs a little more time before eliminating the weaker link of the two. Dodging the barrage of stingers from above, he raised an earth wall that blocked the praying mantis as he emerged from the ground, firing a Zukaku at the green monster's back that was blocked by the beetle with a lump. Cursing at the strong defense of that huge beetle and the black and white one, he jumped over an acid blast before trying to gain some room to maneuver by calling out, "Suten, Daibakufu no Jutsu, Great Waterfall Technique," as his blue mask spewed out a huge mass of swirling water that looked like a drill, blocking the bugs and copy nin from advancing. He was about to launch a Raiden Jutsu to follow up as the silver-haired Jounin launched himself over the attack by raising an earth wall and rushed at Kakuzu after landing. Stopping his chakra flow, he disconnected his right fist from the wrist and launched it at the copy nin as he controlled it with the black threads of the Jung. The fist just missed the attacking shinobi as he ducked and rolled to the right as the appendage grazed the tips of his silver hair when it passed over his head. Alright, now I got his speed, so I'll take him out next time he attacks. Dodging the strange ox-sized beetle as it once again tried to crush him, Kakuzu blocked the praying mantis strike with his arm. Those annoying little bugs started to swarm again to block his vision, so he quickly left the area as those devastating clubs smashed through the bug wall and the whip-like tail quickly followed, snapping inches in front of Kakuzu's face. But as he was in the air, the horn beetle smashed into him from his back while the one with pincers slashed through his head from above before he crumbled into rubble, revealing he was an earth clone. From his hidden position behind a pile of rubble, Kakuzu began to prepare a jutsu when Kakashi appeared above him with his left foot raised over his head and crackling with lightning chakra prepared to bring it hammering down on the ancient ninja's head. Kakuzu did not panic and allowed a mass of threads to burst through his mouth that pierced the attacking ninja through his outstretched leg and chest. Smiling around the threads, Kakuzu managed to say, "You shouldn't have gotten involved. You will make a nice payday after I leave here." Kakuzu was literally shocked when in the middle of gasping his dying breath the ninja turned into a mass of lightning that surged through his earth-based tentacles, electrifying him as he stood in the middle of the field paralyzed, open for a devastating move. He heard birds chirping and couldn't react as he felt something pierce his water-natured heart and heard a voice yell, "Reikiri." Kakashi leaned in before whispering, "And you shouldn't have underestimated me." Kakuzu fell forward pretending to be dead while thinking, "This isn't going my way. I better shut down for a couple minutes before moving out and taking the hero water. I can feel it relatively close." As he was lying there preparing to halt his chakra flow, a voice echoed in his head, "We shall meet in person in 2 days at the main hideout." Shutting off his chakra after receiving the message, his organs and body systems stopped functioning and Kakuzu literally died, waiting for Jung to revive him in a couple of minutes. Kakashi looked down at the body as he double-checked the pulse and felt the dying electrical signals. "I'm definitely making sure that all my opponents are actually dead from now on. Still, I wonder who he was. All I know is he was from Taki and apparently him and this girl are over 100 years old. I wonder if they were lovers and he cheated with another woman and had to run away, and from her Jinchuriki fury abandoning the village. He then found a way to become immortal to one day return to his true love and beg forgiveness. Maybe I should write a book. I bet I could give Jiraiya-sama a run for his money. Intense fighting leading to intense fucking. I would definitely have to put in a cat fight leading to some loving, or maybe a cat-girl fight. Oh, the possibilities." Shaking his head before he got too deep into his scary mind. Again, Kakashi got back to the real issue at hand. I wonder why he was never reported a missing nin. Someone able to use all 5 elements should be in the bingo book somewhere. I wonder why Taki never listed that man. Oh well, I can think about that later with more information. For now I have to check on my students. Those 2 explosions were definitely Naruto. I really have to stop giving him ideas involving explosives. Turning to the green-haired woman he said, "Thank you for stopping him when he was attacking us, but I have to get to my students and once we regroup we will find you and help scour the rubble for survivors." Not getting any response from the girl as she appeared to be staring at him and thinking something, "Gotta be the mask." Jumping off towards the area where the explosions came from, Kakashi resisted the urge to pull out Icha, just a little longer precious. As he was traveling to meet his students, he realized that Jinchuriki was following him and would hopefully continue to do so back to Konoha. Landing near the trio, he saw Sakura standing near a shirtless and bandaged Naruto. His seal was barely visible from all the chakra use, but it appeared she was too busy fussing over him to notice. Sai was looking at the other 2 with a strange expression on his face. It seemed thoughtful with something else in it besides the usual blank look. He saw the kunoichi and one of the uniformed rain nin tied up and the ringleader lying dead. Walking up to the 3 who were eyeing him and the woman curiously, he coughed and began, "Report in team." The pink cat stopped her mother hen act on Naruto and responded professionally. "We trailed them through the city and after calculating their path we set up an ambush outside of the city. 2 were quickly disabled and the others quickly followed. Naruto was injured during the battle protecting Sai, and according to the clone we sent with Pakun to investigate their trail, Shibuki was killed in a hollowed-out tree with some kind of altar." Looking at the 2 prisoners, Kakashi pondered what to do before wiping some blood on his hands, summoning a bull mastiff that was the size of Fu's praying mantis. "Alright team, here's what we'll do. Bolt here will bring these 2 prisoners back to Konoha, so Sakura, if you please put them under. It will take him around 12 to 14 hours to get to Konoha, so dose accordingly." Standing up and reaching into her pouch to follow her sensei's instruction, she drugged them with her most potent sleeping poison. Bull lifted the two tied-up shinobi by the ropes and leapt off towards the wall. "Alright, Fu was it, could you please explain what these people wanted?" Looking at the three as she sat on the vinegaroon she began, "Fu thinks they were after the hero water, that is the only thing of real value in the village." Hopping off the bug and walking up to Sween's corpse she searched his packs and pockets before pulling out a strange case and opening it. She held out the strange gourd filled with water. This apparently increases the chakra of the user immensely at cost to their lifespan. The mint-haired woman looked at the ground, creating an awkward silence for a minute or two before continuing. "Fu would like to return to Konoha with you, there is nothing for her here anymore." As she finished talking, the earth rose up encasing the insect's legs in stone and Fu jumped towards her companions screaming as Kakashi yelled, "Scatter!" A large stream of fire moved through their last position, killing the 7 bugs as a black blur shot in front of Kakashi before slamming into Fu, knocking her out. It stopped, revealing Kakuzu holding the hero water and Fu's unconscious form over his shoulder like a sack. The strange ninja appeared to be a monster as his torso was split at all the joints as black threads extended out of his body, connecting everything together as the many appendages waved wildly around him. "Hatake Kakashi, I give you this one offer. I will leave here and you will stay and give no pursuit. I will take the hero water and the demon container, she will serve as a good substitute for your bounty. I am sure Kuma would pay nicely for the container of the Nanabi. In exchange for letting me leave peacefully I will not kill you, I have other business to attend to." Naruto rubbed his stomach as he stared at Fu, emotion not lost on Kakashi, but thankfully it was to the creature in front of them. As he stared at the scene his visible blue eye narrowed. "Yeah right, there's no chance in hell we're letting you go, right sensei?" Silence was his only answer as a betrayed look appeared on his face and he prepared to lift the headband, probably to use the Mangekyo power they had discovered. A hand grabbed his before he could reach his headband as his Kakashi finally answered, "Naruto, that won't do any good here. This ninja can probably beat me if I go full out, and definitely can if I have to protect you three and fight him." Staring at the monstrous ninja, Kakashi answered him, "As much as I don't like it, we'll let you go." His student gave him a hurt look as Kakuzu mocked bowed before speaking around the threads, "A wise decision, but the price on your head is high. I am sure we will see each other again." As he jumped away, Naruto's voice reached him, "You better hope we don't meet again, because if we do, when you finally get to hell it will be a vacation after what I do to you." Laughing oddly, Kakuzu's voice reached them as he disappeared from view, "Get strong and famous, boy, so I can profit off of your death as well." Before his student could yell at him, Kakashi began, "Naruto, just so you know, I wish that we could have done something, but I'm running low on chakra after fighting him before, and I won't let you three die. It may not have been the morally right decision, but it was the correct one to make in the situation. When you lead missions or become Hokage, you will have to weigh all the options before making a decision that is in the best benefit of your team or the village. You may not always like or agree with the decision you made, but if you can't get over your dislike or regret from those decisions, you should quit being a ninja because it will break you." When his students looked like they grasped some of the knowledge, Kakashi continued, "Alright guys, I know there may be some questions after this mission, but they will have to wait till we get back to the Hokage's office. For now I want you to scour the village and find any jutsu scrolls or any other knowledge we could use, as well as civilians. We'll meet up here in 4 hours and set up camp outside the village before leaving tomorrow." Sai drew some ink mice to search while Naruto spammed out a horde of clones that leapt off, but before he could follow, Sakura grabbed him, demanding to stitch his wound while they had time and it wasn't healing. When she was finished, he joined the other 2 members of Squad 7 and began searching the scarred village. As they were scouring the city, 4 shinobi saw the extent of the damage done during the course of the day. After regrouping outside the ruined village, Team 7 agreed that Takigakura was destroyed and the civilian shelters had collapsed, leaving a small number of survivors. Most of the Taki shinobi were on missions, but when things returned it would be bleak and they could expect no help from Konoha. Kakashi had a fruitful search, finding Onbu headquarters and the village file location, and sealed all the documents into a scroll before sending a hawk carrying the documents to the Hokage. Sai's mice found several jutsu vaults, and even though most of them were common, there were a handful of high-level jutsu previously unknown to Konoha, though Kakashi was sure several of the better ones were stashed away for Dunzo. Sakura focused on treating the injured civilians that Naruto's clones brought back, along with supplies recovered from the hospital. Naruto and the rest of his clones had the best haul of all. He scoured the village leader's office as well as the elders and clan homes, saying that's where all the cool jutsu would be. He returned with several clan jutsu, a scroll of forbidden techniques and seals, and perhaps most fortunate for him were several scrolls with the Uzumaki symbol that Naruto was eyeing with a keen interest. After telling his team to set up camp, Kakashi summoned another bird and stored all of the jutsu scrolls into a sealing scroll before sealing it into the messenger bird scroll and then releasing it to Konoha, following a different route than the other. His duty done, Kakashi opened his orange book for some well-deserved reading after a really long day. Why do I always have to be right? The weary Hokage eyed Team 7 through his crystal ball as they arrived at the gates after their second consecutive C-turned-A rank mission. I have a feeling this might be a regular occurrence for Naruto. After Kakashi's summon bull showed up holding 2 bound and unconscious prisoners, the Sundaime was prepared for paperwork and a headache, but not the size of the one he received. Ibiki managed to find out that Team Sween was hired by an anonymous benefactor that gave him the value of one S-rank mission pay up front and promised another payday 10 times the size if he received the hero water along with a precious diamond thought stolen almost a decade ago. And though an unknown rogue that is after items of power with wealth in his hands isn't anything to ignore, it wasn't the biggest news. No, what was really disconcerting was discovering that Salamander Hanzo was defeated by the leader of a rebel faction in Namikaze with a strange dojutsu, and the Sundaime felt the light throbbing in his head turn into a migraine knowing he will have to call a full council meeting for important international news like that, and he will have to get someone in Namikaze to verify it. He then learned that their allies in Taki weren't very loyal and helped massacre the Uzumaki along with several other off-the-book moves that would have been against their alliance when they later received a messenger bird with a written report and classified documents from Taki as well as jutsu scrolls. After scanning the scrolls and paying close attention to the scrolls with the orange spirals, the Hokage properly distributed them to safe areas while taking 2 out of the Uzumaki scrolls before putting the rest in his vault in the Sarutobi compound. The one sitting on his desk contained 2 beginner Uzumaki chakra control exercise and a couple C and B rank water jutsu. The Sundaime knew he was about to have a long conversation with his grandson and was wondering how to fill the talk with enough half-truths that Naruto wouldn't ask too many questions. Bracing himself as he heard a knock on his door, the Sundaime focused in and called out, "Enter." The team walked in mostly unharmed much to his relief, and Kakashi began his report. Hokage-sama, the mission to escort Shibuki to Takigakura was a success. But upon arrival it became apparent that the village was under attack, and I told Shibuki for the cost of a separate A-rank mission we will assist in the defense. We made contact with the enemy after Shibuki presumably fled and hid somewhere. We eliminated 4 quickly before being surrounded by the 8 other ninja. After a combination jutsu eliminated 4, the remaining fled as a rogue, presumably S-rank ninja, interrupted the fight trying to claim a bounty on my head, but the Nanabi Jinchuriki interfered. After sending my students in pursuit of the 4 with Pakun, sure they would handle the situation correctly, I helped the Taki Jinchuriki after learning of a black op that went against our alliance to try to get her to defect to Konoha. We won and rendezvoused with my team, and after retrieving the hero water and she professed the desire to join Konoha. However, the S-rank nin that we thought we killed ambushed our group, taking both the hero water and the Jinchuriki presumably for profit. We then evacuated the civilians left alive and combed over the village for jutsu and other information after confirming it could no longer continue its existence. The aged Hokage puffed on his pipe as he stalled for a little more time. "Excellent job, Team Kakashi. I am very proud that you were able to respond brilliantly in this adverse situation after the tragic events of your last major mission. You are dismissed and will receive pay for both a C and A rank mission with commendations going in your record next to the completed missions. Naruto and Kakashi, could you please stay?" Feeling slightly better at the concerned look Sakura was sending towards the blonde, the old man waited for the door to close before addressing Naruto. "I know that you undoubtedly have questions and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I don't want to lie to you, Naruto, but I can't tell you your whole past yet. However, I can explain some, so ask anything my boy and I shall do my best." Taking a deep breath, Naruto locked his lone blue eye onto the Hokage's and he winced at the hurt revealed in the blue orb. "Old man, is it true? Were the Uzumaki a clan, and how am I related to them?" Letting out a large cloud of smoke, the weary elder answered, "The Uzumaki were once the ruling clan of the island nation of Uzunokuni. They excelled in Sudan ninjutsu, lived long lives, and had large chakra reserves, but the true specialty of the clan was Fuuinjutsu. The art of Fuuinjutsu is complicated and obscure. Not much is known about it except for the fact that it is incredibly powerful and the potential of the art is almost limitless. Your clan was incredibly feared because of their prowess in sealing techniques and what they could do with them. That one clan was powerful enough that it could change the balance of power in a heartbeat, and some nations didn't like that idea, so they were wiped out by a secret alliance starting the Second Great Ninja War. How you came to be in Konoha is not related to that incident though. You see, your clan is loosely related to the Senju clan, the founders of Konoha." Sarutobi saw the look of disbelief on the teen's face and waited for him to process the surprising information. As a sign of faith and friendship, the Shadai married the firstborn daughter of the clan head at the time, Uzumaki Mito. As she neared her death, the Uzumaki sent over another ninja to help us with Fuuinjutsu as part of the alliance. Your mother was her grandniece Uzumaki Kushina. She was a strong kunoichi, and one of the most powerful shinobi of her generation. One day she was rescued after being kidnapped by your father and their relationship grew after that. She loved you very much and was so excited when she was pregnant. She died during the Kyuubi attack and you remind me a lot of her. She had a fiery personality and temper with a large heart and a lot of compassion. She wanted to be the first female Hokage and loved playing pranks as well. Very few shinobi know of your heritage because of their relationship to your family like Kakashi and Guy, and they were informed not to tell anyone, though they managed to help you without raising suspicion. Guy was on your mother's Junon team and is teaching you the taijutsu style of your clan that he was taught by your mother when he was your age. Naruto looked shell-shocked. What about my dad Ji-chan? Who is he? Sighing at the question he knew was coming, the Sandaime began. I'm sorry Naruto, I can't tell you. Your father had more enemies than your mother and that is one of the reasons why you have her name. I will say your father was a very powerful ninja and loved you as much as your mother. In fact, I've never seen him happier than when he found out his mother was pregnant with you. I know this is a lot to take in, so you can come by and talk to me at any time and I'll tell you some stories of your mother and give you some pictures. I don't see enough of you these days Naruto. Now go home and get some sleep. Your sensei will inform you when you have your next training session. Also, while I wouldn't advertise that you are the last Uzumaki, mainly because you don't look like one, you can discreetly tell close friends if you make sure they know to keep it under wraps. Naruto turned and trudged out the door while mumbling goodbye to the old man as he was turning to speak to Kakashi. This is 2A rank missions. I expect to see them in the upcoming Chunin exams. They have proved they are more than ready for it. Yes Hokage-sama, they have all grown immensely since they joined my team, especially Naruto. You know, I've been thinking that Naruto has shown enough maturity to hear about his father. He hasn't told anyone about his Jinchuriki status, and I expect he would be able to keep this a secret as well. We don't have to tell everyone right now, but Naruto should know about his whole family. Perhaps you are right Kakashi, I have seen his growth over the years, especially since you took over the role as his teacher, but a part of this old man still wants to shelter the boy. I don't want to cause him any distress when he learns that it was his father that caused him so much pain by sealing the Kyuubi in him. And then after he overcomes that, because I have no doubts that he will, there will be an unbelievable pressure once he accepts that he is the son of one of the strongest ninja to ever live. I don't even know if I could have beaten Minato in my prime, and he was not yet in his when he passed on. Kakashi was surprised to see the usually strong and unshakable man actually look his age. The Sandaime always projected an aura of experience, wisdom, and power, making you forget that he was in his 60s. The old man in front of Kakashi looked so weary and fragile, like he was carrying a heavy burden all his life and was exhausted from the tremendous effort. Kakashi really didn't know what to say, but he had faith in Naruto and his student deserved to know of his father. Hokage-sama, I believe that Naruto has earned the privilege of learning of his true heritage. Minato-sensei trusted him with the fox, and I believe that he is ready to learn why. Give him his full legacy and watch him shine. He already wants to surpass the fourth and be the greatest Hokage ever, learning that his father, his hero and idol, entrusted the fox to him with the belief that Naruto would one day surpass him will only spurn the boy to new heights. The Hokage had a warm expression on his face as he regarded his fellow disciple in the Shadaime's philosophy. Kakashi was something of a great grand student of Hiruzen. Kakashi was a student to Minato, who in turn learned at the feet of Jiraiya, who was Hiruzen's pupil at one point, and when the Sandaime was a young Junon all those years ago, he was a student of the Shadaime and Nidaime. All of the successors to the Hokage title came from this line of teaching, and despite Kakashi's lack of desire to become Hokage, he was still a good man and a better ninja, perhaps a worthy advisor along with Shikaku. Your sensei taught excellent students as you yourself are doing now. Taking a deep breath, the old man continued, I think you are right Kakashi. Team 7 shall enter the Chunin exams, and if Naruto proves Chunin material, then we shall tell him of his father, but for now let him think and learn about his mother. Thank you for the counsel Kakashi, it was most appreciated. You are dismissed. As Kakashi walked out the door, he couldn't help but feel he signed up for more work outside of preparing his team for the exams, but he couldn't figure out why. Disregarding the strange sensation, he thought to himself as he walked into the afternoon sun, pulling out Icha. I'll have to up the training for my cute students before the exams. We still have about 2 months to prepare. I also need to step up my own training a bit. I lost a step or two since my Anbu days, and my chakra levels haven't risen because of my lack of training. I'm stagnating. I'll have to step it up a bit, maybe get some weights and train with Guy once a week, month. Once in a while on special occasions. I need to start raising my chakra before I get too old. Maybe I should start working on some of the better jutsu I copied with my sharingan too. Oh well, it's been a long 3 days. I just want to kick back and read some Icha Icha. The Sandaime watched as Kakashi walked down the street while thinking about his blonde student. His musing was interrupted sometime later when a young Chunin was let in by his secretary carrying a message from the bird tower. Hokage-sama, we have just received a message from Suna bearing the cage seal. Opening his desk, he pulled out a carved stone before grabbing the scroll and placing the design into a gap in the seal before channeling some chakra. He dismissed the young Chunin while opening the scroll. Kakuzu stood outside the entrance to the main Akatsuki base with the Jinchuriki's hands bound behind its back by rope with a leash coming off held by the Akatsuki member. There was a chakra sealing collar around its neck attached to a long pole held in Kakuzu's other hand. The Jinchuriki was actually very cooperative when he told it that they would extract the demon and leave a cold lifeless husk behind. The demon container appeared hopeful upon hearing death was a result of the sealing. Since then they traveled at high speeds, arriving at base earlier than expected. When he entered, only the orange-haired leader with multiple piercings through his nose, lips, and ears along with Konan, his blue-haired partner, were in the base. The strange ringed eyes of the leader took him in and scanned the girl that he was holding closely. Why have you brought a Jinchuriki? We are not ready to begin extracting the beasts or for the attention the movements would garner. With all your partners' deaths and now this, I might have to kill you for being more trouble than you're worth. Bowing his head in deference to the powerful man, Kakuzu answered, I made sure that there would be no link to Akatsuki at all. I removed the cloak and told the witnesses that I plan to sell her to Kumo or another village. They should believe it because I told the Kopinen that I was going to collect his bounty when we fought. I had to make a side trip to my home village. It was unavoidable. When I entered, much to my surprise and pleasure, it was already being torn apart, so I added to the carnage. The village is in ruins with almost no chance of reforming, and there was nobody that can identify me. I never had an entry in the bingo books because Konoha would have recognized my abilities after I fought the Shadaime, so that won't be any help either. The way I see it, the Jinchuriki would have been taken by the hidden leaf, making it that much harder to get. Besides, when I told her she would die, she started getting cooperative. Letting his killing intent ebb away, the leader answered, very well, if you are sure, then we shall extract the beast while discussing our next moves, mainly replacing Fuki and finding a 9th member. Grunting, Kakuzu answered, I know that we don't recruit by the books. If there is some way to get Hatake Kakashi into Akatsuki, I would recommend it. The man spoke up while rubbing his chin, the legendary Sharingan no Kakashi, interesting. A soft voice carried across the cave, the Kopinen is a dangerous man. It would be foolish to attempt to recruit him. All three figures shifted in surprise and turned to face Uchiha Itachi as he glided into the cave wearing a kasa followed by Kisame. Konan spoke for the first time to address the newcomer. Itachi, you were part of Konoha. What can you tell us about this so-called legend? Removing his kasa, he revealed his Sharingan eyes and began to speak. I served with Kakashi during my time in the Anbu. He was my captain and taught me many things before becoming the Anbu commander. He is a genius of the highest levels, and he would thwart any attempt to coerce him to join us quickly and efficiently, most likely with devastating results. And if he joined the ranks of Akatsuki, he would bide his time until he could bring us down or escape easily and then make his move. He is generally underestimated, but that is one of his strengths. Behind the lazy facade lays a ruthless ninja capable of outwitting even the cleverest of ninja. I myself would have trouble beating him without using my Mangekyo, and if he didn't have students, then it is possible Kakuzu wouldn't be here after confronting the man. Whenever we would spar, I would think I was dominating the match and about to win until he would pull off a gambit and escape before defeating me. When I asked him how he was able to pull victory from the jaws of defeat so easily, he replied, who says I was on the ropes? The way I was looking at it, I had you where I wanted you the whole time. After hearing what he had to say, the man with ringed eyes ignored Kakuzu's scoff at Itachi's advice before replying, we shall not pursue that option and will keep a wary eye on him when we are hunting the Kyuubi. The Akatsuki meet in person tomorrow for the first time since Orochimaru betrayed us. Find your rooms and rest. Kakuzu, give the Nanabi to Konan, she will seal it into a room till we are ready. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.